Hello all, my name is Lynette Russell and today I will be discussing interpersonal communication for Liberty University, Hsco 508. The content of today's discussion will be as follows. I will begin by defining interpersonal communication and its characteristics. I will then expand on interpersonal communication by examining and explaining a personal overarching goal and how it relates to enlarging the conversation. I'll discuss how my background and behavioral blend have influenced my communication skills in both positive and negative ways, and examine some of the barriers I face in regards to communication. And I will discuss solutions to these barriers, mention some research along the way, and map out an action plan as to how I'll make these goals a reality. Stewart defines interpersonal communication as the type or kind of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. So Stewart also explains that this form of communication is also easiest when there are only two people who already know and trust each other. So without the establishment of trust during a conversation, the level and quality of the conversation decreases. In order to establish trust in a conversation and build strong communication skills, you first have to discover what it is that is holding you back from doing so. So you have to discover where you lack and can improve in the realm of communication and work towards improving those specific areas. So this is also known as identifying an overarching goal. So my two overarching goals are as listed: listen and non-judgmental. So I need to listen more to others and not be quite as judgmental right off the bat. These goals are definitely the key ingredients to what makes a conversation successful and efficient, and to be able to identify these goals, you must first understand and accept self-disclosure. Stewart describes self-disclosure best when he states that it is revealing to another person how you perceive and are reacting to the present situation, and giving any information about yourself and your past that is relevant to an understanding of your perceptions and reactions to the present. So basically leaving the past in the past and concentrating on the present. Stewart also has a two-step process on how to make your identity more concrete. So the first step is to be more aware and accept your identity issues, and the second is to know that you are human and understand you will make mistakes. And once you have accepted the current situation and can come to terms with your conversational flaws, you're able to enlarge the conversation by really listening, providing helpful input, and coming to a joint effort solution. Now, it's definitely important to understand our own behavioral blends so that we can begin to understand others. Carbonell described in great detail the different behavioral blends, and my personal blend indicated that I am very task and quality oriented and driven. When I'm designated a task, I prefer to do it right the first time and definitely in a timely manner. I'm very easygoing, but tend to follow and enforce the rules when necessary. I am more of a follower than a leader, but I will not hesitate to take the reins if necessary. I'm very passionate and put others first, and do not associate with other individuals who are manipulative. And I was always taught to do what I felt was right and not be very concerned with others as to what they thought of myself. My behavioral blend has certainly influenced my communication style because I'm so task-oriented and focused. I tend to only listen to the parts of the conversation that I am interested in and that apply to me, if there are any at all. Burley Allen discussed selective hearing and stated that information that conflicts with the listener's present ideas and beliefs may simply be tuned out. I also tend to tune out people if they are discussing ideas that conflict with my beliefs. So to an extent, it is human nature to feel threatened when our beliefs are questioned, but it's never a bad idea to see others' perspectives and hear their beliefs as well. I always have a need to win during a conversation, and I relate this to being very quality oriented and wanting to do things the right way. I always want to get the last word in, which can sometimes cause arguments, and Thibault and Kuhl suggested that as hostility increases, the tendency to avoid aggression also increases. And Peterson stated that our unhealthy need to win and be right can get in the way of what is best for people. I'm always thinking of what I want to say next to get my point across because I feel it's superior to the other individual's perspective, and by doing this I'm not forming a stable trust in the conversation, which is only damaging my relationships, especially if this results in arguments. And lastly, I struggle with being overly judgmental during a conversation, and Burley Allen stated that we create for ourselves a world that is either critical and hostile or one that is friendly and supportive. We decide whether the world we live in is judgmental. So when I judge others, I'm only making it okay for them to reciprocate the same behavior, and it's not fair for me to judge when I don't know the individual and vice versa. So I'm working diligently to break these barriers by focusing all of my attention and energy on the speaker, requiring myself to be able to repeat what the speaker just said in order for me to have my turn to talk and have a more open mind to ideas that are different from mine. So the first step in improving my communication technique is to play detective, just as Peterson suggests. So be nosy, ask questions, really get into their business. That will show that I am interested, I'm listening, and build trust, which will result in positive and healthy relationships. So asking questions will also allow the talker to work out his or her own solution to the problem by making him or her think about it more in depth. Allowing space is another technique I'm working into my conversation, so this will help with my prejudgments and biased opinions. Boyd and Roche discussed and suggested that open and honest communication results in strong, satisfactory relationships. And I'm working to begin every conversation with a clear and open mind, eager to learn about others, so that way my conversations will be more pleasant. I'm not quite as closed-minded and negative, and I make room for new ideas and suggestions that I may not have thought of before. The talker-listener card that Peterson developed is also panning out to be pretty helpful. It allows each individual to have his or her own turn to talk and then tells both parties what is appropriate during the conversation and what is not. Definitely gives each person ample time to discuss his or her point of view. And then lastly, I want to make sure I'm listening as much as possible to the other person and that they are trusting me enough to come to me and discuss their issues, so I should be giving them the respect they deserve and listen. So I try now to focus on what they say and repeat back what was said. By doing so, I'm showing them I'm listening to my fullest and making sure I understand the situation completely. So by adding and incorporating all of these new conversation tools and techniques into my daily life, my lifelong relationships, I'll not only become a better and more positive person, but be able to form stronger relationships and be open to new ideas, thoughts, and my relationships, like I said, will just become much more concrete.